Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Everybody, welcome to Hamilton Happy Hour. We are joined with our guests again. We have Mike and Mike.
Hey, everybody. How's it going, everyone?
And we are joined with Catherine Lan.
Hi.
And Tao Lin.
Hello.
They are concert pianists that have been, well, you live here locally, correct?
In South Florida.
In
Yes.
South Florida, right?
Yes.
But you tour all over the world.
Yes.
Okay. Where have you been before playing concerts?
Recently, I think it's Budapest. We perform in a Bartok hall in a Buddha castle.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
yes.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
that's a couple years ago, and then this past year we were in Paris.
Nice.
And then before that, a few years before that, we were in Estonia, Finland. So yeah,
Estonia is beautiful.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
yeah.
So, when you being concert pianist, do you do dual concerts, or is it two pianos, or do you do it separately?
Well, our format usually is, we loved duo piano repertoire, but the problem with presenting that very often is that most venues tend not to have two concert-ready instruments.
Right.
So in order to make things a little easier for everybody, so we very often present duet programs. So
Okay.
it's like four-hand at one instrument, and then in between the programs, we also sort of interject some solo repertoire as well. So it's a duet and solo combination type of programs.
Oh, okay.
That's what we do most often.
So, you ever nervous about what piano that they may have at the venue?
Yes.
Yeah, that's but that comes with the territory.
Right.
That's kind of part of our mental training, if you will, is that you just don't know what you will be having, and you have about 20 to 30 minutes to deal with it. To figure
Get
out whether
used to it.
right whether you will have a good night or you will have to really just struggle through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also try to get the piano how it should sound within certain specific acoustics. That can also be a challenge. But
Right.
that's just part of life being touring pianists, I think.
Yeah, because I work with a lot of artists, at concert halls, and it's the same thing because everybody's got their own taste, their own opinion, touch and tone, so on and so forth. And I keep my pianos in the middle of the road because you can't please everybody. Everyone's got what they like. But when you do that, it kind of even keels, between the differences between everyone's touch and the way they hear things. But I used to get nervous too about when an artist would come in and had to play a concert, and I'm like, okay, for instance, like Vladimir Feltzman. The first time I had to work for him, I knew like 6 months ahead, and I was crying for 5 months and 30 days before because my dad had worked for him before, and he told me how tough he is. So I probably have mentioned this story in a previous podcast, but it's when you are going to the piano, you never know what you're going to get, and as on our end is one way and on your end is another way. You are trying to do and play what you can play with the instrument that you have.
Sure.
But most of the times it's pretty good. I mean, if they have the right technician servicing the piano, it's in pretty good shape, right?
Yeah, and different pianists also have different tolerance levels, if you will.
Yes.
Some are very, very specific, and a few of them even travel their own pianos, as we know throughout history. And then others, just go with a house piano and make the best of it. There are some extremes. I know pianists who carry their own tool bags. So they will work on the piano themselves.
Even during the intermission.
Well, I know at least one for sure. What he does in commission is to actually take the piano apart and work on it, and usually make the house technician very nervous.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. So there's just the different approaches really.
I've come across that where someone has, the pianist touched my tuning, and when I go back for another concert, I said, "Who touched this piano?" I can tell, and sometimes even with certain artists, they say, "Oh no, this note's out. This note's out." I said, "Okay, check it." I said, "Not out, but I will move the tuning pin to get the string to where it needs to be. You tell me when it sounds good to you, and that's what I do. And that's good." I'm like, "Okay, you're happy. everybody's happy, it's fine. It's wrong. I mean, but everybody's ear is different. It's just the way that it is. So do you ever get nervous before you go on stage to play?
Yes.
I think nerve, anxiety is just really part of
performing.
the
Right.
live performance.
Yes.
Yep.
Sometimes people will say like, oh, if you perform a lot, you probably don't get nervous. No, you only hopefully get a little bit better at dealing with nerves.
Yeah.
But
Just get used to it. Right?
Yeah, just hopefully you know yourself a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's always there.
And I think that's why some of the artists through my career, more at the beginning of my career myself, that I had, I wouldn't say issues with, but just kind of this and this and this and this, and it's the same thing. You have to think about it. I'm nervous just like they're nervous because we're the pit crew for NASCAR. You guys are the drivers, and we're the pit crew trying to make sure that this instrument wins the race in that sense. So I get nervous too, and even when I'm backstage, at a standby, waiting for to go out on stage and check everything as much as you can. You got 10 minutes. I mean, you can only do what you can do.
Right.
But you get nervous, because you guys are so good at what you do. And the biggest thing I would say for concert pianists is the repetitiveness of the note, of the keys. They have to repeat so fast because your guys' fingers are so fast, and what you have to do that is something that I would think could fumble somebody in playing the piano. The more than anything else. Forget the tuning, forget anything else. That's just my opinion. Is the repeating it.
The responsiveness of the action.
Right.
Yeah. That's a big part. And the other thing that we have to deal with is the evenness of all the registers. Sometimes certain registers are you're sort of out of balance. Then you have to adjust the way you play because you have to either work a little bit harder in certain areas just to equalize,
Right.
all the different sections of the keyboard. So that's another thing. But definitely the responsiveness is a big part.
Yep. So do you guys have any stories about when you've been abroad and had any funny things come up, at a concert or something?
Oh, we have some horror stories about
Okay, let's do horror, not comedy.
about piano. Sometimes we have to deal with.
Which one shall we start?
Well,
I will remind you which one. Start with.
Well, one of the top ones on top of my list is when the pedal fell off. So I was playing at this art museum, and it is actually a Steinway 9-foot, but the moving crew just moved the piano from another venue in for this performance. And then when they attached the lyre, obviously somehow it was not screwed on properly. So as I start playing, I start to feel like it was moving a little bit. So I start to sort of remind myself like it could go.
What this guy was it?
No, I'm pretty sure it's not. No, it was not local. It was not local.
Okay. So you're safe.
You're good. You're good.
It would have been done right if they moved it.
So I start moving, and then so I just start to prepare myself. And at one point, yes, you hear this big noise. That whole thing just clap on the floor, and I had to play at least the rest of the piece. It was something by Brahms. Without it was a Brahms trio, without the pedal. Well, and that was also the final piece on the program. But that's one of those sort of nightmares. And you can see it coming. The thing is that you can see it coming.
Yeah.
You feel like it's moving. It's like,
That's terrible.
When? It's a matter of when.
And that's on Steinway from when they changed the way they locked the pedals and the legs in place. That wouldn't have happened. That couldn't have happened on one of the old styles.
No.
Like, because pressing on it would just keep forcing it back into place more.
Oh, I see.
So the way they attach now is with an Allen wrench, stuff like that. So the old one's banged in with a mallet, and you banged a wooden wedge in. And so it's almost impossible for that to have happened on one of the old time
Correct.
pianos.
I see.
Which they just changed that 15 years ago, maybe, something like that.
Oh, not recent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So being it was the last piece, that was a good thing. It was like the closing of the show. The pedals fall off the piano.
Yes, mic drop, right? Similar to
Pedal drop, not mic drop.
yes, we are literally done.
It's good thing it was the pedals and not a leg.
Right? Could be worse. Yes.
Could be. There's a lot of times they do break the legs on pianos, because they roll them off stage and there's a threshold or something, and they're not if they don't have a spider dolly or grand adjustable truck, as it's called, and they roll it off stage, and every time it hits that, it just the leg gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And I've had that happen on a 9-foot Baldwin. It used to be at the Poinciana Playhouse. That used to be here many, many years ago that they're rebuilding. And it was my dad's 9-foot Baldwin. And so they called me because they broke the leg. And I'm sitting here going, how am I going to do this? I don't even remember how I did it, but I was able to do something. I made it work. I fixed I think it was the caster that broke off. It wasn't the leg, but the caster broke off. And so I jacked it up and took the leg off and fixed it. But yeah, it's amazing what those pianos go through too, between the moving back and forth, the acclimating. It's like some of the concert halls, I tell them, listen, you got to be careful with the air. The air is, the AC is you got to keep it more constant because it's making the piano go up and down and up and down. And then you come in and, like you said, you only have 30 minutes to rehearse, and we only have 10 minutes to tune. It's like they put things so tight knit. They don't realize what we have to go through on your end and our end. We got to move the piano in. It's got to be here at 10 o'clock so that we could do this by 10:20, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that people don't know about that goes on behind the curtains. We talked about that in a previous episode. It's like there could be a whole TV show about that behind the curtains. So,
do you guys ever try to get to a venue like early in the morning to try to scope things out? And
usually the venues are not that available. Yeah, they give you a very specific time. Like you can enter now and then do your thing, and then when you need to stop because they need to open the house and all that. So it's a very specific, limited amount of time.
Wow. What about other horror stories about pianos that were just bad pianos? Like we kind of talk about this a lot. This is a constant subject on the podcast, but there's always great. We always get a lot of great feedback because all of you guys that are touring
probably
pianists
give you nightmares as well. For sure. Well, there's this one venue I walked in and I just immediately felt the humidity was really high, so I start to get concerned with the instrument.
Obviously.
So I opened the fallboard. And then I see about half of the keys were sunken, basically.
Oh, wow.
So basically half of them not really working. But they couldn't, it was too late to get anybody or change the instrument. So, I suppose I played sort of half of the program, or at least just half of the notes of the program. I played all the notes, but they didn't sound like all the notes.
The audience doesn't know. They don't know if you miss a note. They don't know if the piano's out of tune. They don't know.
That reminds me
sad truth.
That reminds me of another venue I played. I went there, and I think there were about 8 keys that was already, like what he said, sunk, already down and not bouncing back. So I was kind of pointing that out to the person in charge, and the person said, "Oh, then can you just play without those 8 keys?"
There's 80 more keys to play.
just play other keys.
Well, it's
so that's what we have to deal with.
I've had that happen before, where the piano comes in because the artist brought his own piano, and it gets set up and all the keys are out and over, like they're not set. So instead of being down, they're completely out and over. And you just have to reset them, I mean, it's kind of a simple, easy fix, but you got to be careful too because there's bushings underneath that you have to protect. But I've had that happen before, and that is a typical sign that the piano shifted, like it got jolted one way or the other, and that's why the keys got,
it's something that can happen in moving a lot, and it's not that we experience it a lot, but I often wonder what, was there a speed bump that made that happen? Was there something that made that happen? I've never really
pothole or something.
Yeah.
I've had it happen where, what was it? It was, the piano that we won't mention any names, that got dropped off of a forklift, and all the punchings and everything were all over the place. That one.
Yeah. That one had it for sure.
Yeah. And, but I mean, come on, you drop it from a forklift, that's what's going to happen. But
it literally fell off of a forklift.
So we had to fix everything, and regulate it and completely repair the whole case of the piano, blah, blah, blah. But usually I think, it's not impossible that a speed bump couldn't do that. But if the key up stop rail is not tight enough, it's the key's going this way. The key up stop rail, if it's too high to begin with, there's too much play for the key to be able to come out. That's not supposed to happen. It should be just enough that the key can barely touch it. If it's tight enough, then you're good.
So that's something that could just happen over time if that is just loosened up, just in general wear and tear, and then you go to move it, and there's a bigger gap than there should be.
Right. It works its way out. It could do it from playing, the vibration, the nuts start working their way out, or moving it, the nuts start working their way out. There's multiple things it could be.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks to fix that one.
Was it 2 weeks? I thought it was a week.
No,
it was 2 weeks.
It might have been a week.
I know.
It was close.
It was a
We
quick
did-
turnaround.
Yeah, it was
it's
very
like 1 or
quick.
2 weeks, and we had to fix the lid, fix the action, everything.
Yes.
So yeah.
So this piano was all we weren't the ones moving it. We had to, we didn't prepare it for the move, but it was all shrink wrapped and it was all tight together, and it just went boom, and it got picked back up
With the forks of the
with the forks of the piano. They picked it up. So the forks were digging into the lid. So we got it back here and started cutting the shrink wrap, and it looked like it just kind of exploded. Parts falling off everywhere.
We were like an ER.
scalpel.
But we got it turned around real quick, and got it done.
I think that-
Refinished, fixed all the damage. And
Yep,
I think that one went to Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Something like that.
it did.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fun part of the business. It's like I was saying earlier. For the last probably 3-4 weeks, I've been doing a lot of training here. With some of my son's friends who are all from college, and they're going to before they go back to college, I'm training them, and they're probably going to end up working here, and so on and so forth. So it's like a whole nother avenue that I'm kind of taking on as that role, with that part of it. I never thought I'd like to be a teacher, but I'm actually kind of liking it, because I'm not doing the work. This is how you do it.
Tobias.
And that's okay. You did it wrong because you learned. Don't ever do that again, and that's the fun part. So I noticed you have Beethoven and Chopin there. Are those your favorite musicians? Pianists?
We have several.
Well, they're
ones that
definitely
we-
two of our
yes,
favorites.
yes.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
the bus, they look good.
And Beethoven has the 250th anniversary.
Yes, I think next
up.
year. No, 2027. It's the 200th anniversary of his death.
200.
Oh, wow.
1827
Oh, okay,
to 2027.
There's going to be a lot of Beethoven
Oh my goodness!
concerts
yeah.
going on in
yeah.
2027.
All the
Are you guys doing one?
Well, we will certainly be programming
Yeah.
his music for sure. But
Right.
just imagine all the orchestras will be doing the symphony cycles and chamber concerts
Oh,
with
and you're
his string
doing the
quartets. and-
Beethoven number 4 concerto.
yeah, that's next season. I will be playing his 4th concerto with the South Florida Symphony down here. So
We're glad they could join us too for the podcast.
Welcome.
You look good for being dead for 200 years.
Camera there.
smile for us, maybe? No,
He's not going to smile.
that's not happening. That's no.
But it's funny too because I've mentioned this before that back then they didn't have the modern piano.
No.
They had what they had back then, piano forte, and they had maybe a
Imagine their
square
horror
grand.
stories.
Yeah. Everything fell apart on that. And if you kind of think about it too, how were those pianos transported? By horse and buggy.
Right. Or,
You know?
sometimes they just hold up, people just on their shoulders.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's light enough.
Yeah.
Because they were
Those
smaller.
pianos were- yeah.
They were smaller,
Right.
and there's no
No
metal
cast
metal
iron
plate, no
frame.
cast iron frame,
okay.
so it's all wood.
Yep.
And actually, I had a chance to play. Well, not his piano, but the piano he used, the Broadwood, the English piano
Yep.
that apparently
really?
was his favorite that he composed down. It's very different. Everything the sound dissipates a lot quicker, and everything's much lighter. The whole frame is much smaller, all wooden. Yeah, so it will certainly be out of tune much quicker also.
Oh yeah.
So,
And I don't think it was up to pitch either because it couldn't hold the 20 tons of tension that a modern piano has. I think pitch back then was more like A435, right? Something like that.
But probably it's a bit on the flat side.
Less than that, right?
You have a broad one, don't you?
Yeah, I have a broad one.
I thought.
Yeah, they're good pianos. I like them.
For its
Yeah.
time, it's probably already considered indestructible.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Only time can kill it.
Well, time hasn't killed yours yet.
No. And it's a beautiful one. It's a pedestal. So it sits on a pedestal, and we need to rebuild it. It's all inlaid. It's a gorgeous
Beautiful piano.
I bought it probably 15 years ago, and that's it. It's still. We started taking it apart and got onto something else.
Well, the sad part is there's not a huge market for it.
That is the
There's
sad
not a
part.
whole lot of people
Yeah.
out there looking for broadwoods.
Yeah.
Maybe some museum will be
right,
interesting.
Right. They can have it with all the pieces that they want.
It is available, everyone.
Once we fix it.
Yeah. But if they could play on a modern piano, think about that. What they would come up with. It's kind of like what you guys you're playing their music, but I'm sure there's some kind of improvisation, with doing something. Am I correct?
Probably not necessarily in improv, but there are certain things that they wrote was quite specific to the instrument they were available to them.
Oh, okay.
Since it has evolved quite a bit, the instrument itself, so some of the passages or some of the expressiveness they wrote in sometimes can be almost impossible to achieve on modern piano. I mean, you can try, but it's a risky thing. One thing that Beethoven wrote in several of his pieces is this initial attack of a note, and then immediately has to sound piano. So it's a forte piano on the same note, which on their piano probably is almost naturally occurring just because the sound doesn't hold that long anyway. So it's like attack and then it disappears. But on modern piano,
You can't do that.
yeah, it's the least natural thing.
Right.
You can really try to do it, but it's very, very, very risky because if you don't do it just right, then you lose the sound completely. It wouldn't be like some kind of soup beetle. It just goes. Becomes silent, and then that would be quite embarrassing because the sound still has to be there, So
it's kind of funny if you think about it. The old way and the new way, but you can't make the new way play like the old way.
not all. I mean, you can sort of compromise or you can adjust to a certain degree. But at the same time, I also believe that if they did have the possibility and the potential of modern instruments, I think they will love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all write your own music as well?
We all kind of did as part of our overall education, music education. Its composition is part of it, but we wouldn't really necessarily publicly perform. I don't think they are for public consumption.
Where did you get your training?
I started in my native country, Taiwan.
Okay.
I think it was kind of fashionable thing for parents to do at the time to take their kids to learn music instead of sports like in the States. So my mom enrolled me in this Yamaha group music class, and the teacher very quickly noticed that I might have some talent in music. So she
And
recommended.
what age is this?
3.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
So she recommended my mom to take me for one-on-one private lessons, and that's about when I started 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Well, with lessons. And then at age of 8, I was enrolled in a government-sponsored musical training program. It was a pretty comprehensive program. It includes music theory, music history, literature, dictation, and
Ear
major
training stuff. Yeah.
major instrument. And we had to select a second musical instrument, and mine was the oboe.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so I also play the oboe.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Do you
from
still
there-
play oboe?
for fun, yes. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And what about you, Tao?
So I started mainly because, for better or worse, both my parents were faculty at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music and teaching piano.
No choice.
So when I was about 4 years old, so I already lost to her by 1 year. So they kind of just parked me in front of piano and, kind of like, well, since this is what we do, we want to see if we can, pass on to you somehow. And apparently, I heard my mom telling me at some point that one thing that made her feel, I might somehow be whether it's gifted or whatever in music is that, one day apparently she was practicing this very beautiful moving, slow moving Alto Pathetique sonata by Beethoven. And I was just sitting in the corner of the room, and apparently she noticed that I was weeping.
Wow.
Now, of course, I I don't remember that, but she said she noticed that.
But
so
maybe
she
you
felt
were
that.
hungry.
Certainly. Or I was like, oh, it's so bad, please stop. but obviously she took it the other way, and then, here I am today. Thanks.
It could have been a ham sandwich. Could have fixed it.
And we wouldn't be sitting here right now having a discussion.
Piece of chocolate, yes.
Oh man.
That's funny. It's funny how I mean, everybody in this world, one way or the other, grows up into whether they're an athlete, musician, artist, so on and so forth. What got them the very beginning stages? Because really, parents or teachers or whoever it is, they start you, but you finish it. You have to keep doing it after the lessons are done. The parents aren't, you don't live with them anymore, so on and so forth. So after when you became adults, for that, you just kept going with it, right? And that's the repetition is the key to all skill. That's what makes you so good at what you do, is because you just stuck with it and kept going with it for so long.
Yeah, I think initially it was, the parents probably pushing us in this direction, and I think very few people at that age will really enjoy practicing instead of playing outside or whatever. But in a way, I suppose we're both fortunate in the sense that at a certain age we actually did fall in love with music itself,
right?
So that the practicing and all that doesn't feel like it's work anymore.
You have to.
It fell into
right. It's
into play.
It's really part of
And
our
plus,
life.
we're not
So
good at anything else. So this is how
we didn't have time to explore that.
This is it. We're done. That's our career.
So did it, as you just started getting older, I would imagine you were in competitions and you just started getting more competitive, and sort of at what point did you realize, no, this is going to be my life?
Well, kind of in the Asian educational system, I would say it was very much determined early on. Once you, like in Catherine's case, enroll into this government sponsor program, and for my own, it's very similar. I got into the Shanghai Conservatory at about 8.
Yeah,
about the
same
same age, because the school is also government run, and that kind of sort of solidify the direction for you.
Oh, wow.
In that sense, yeah, because it's very difficult entrance exams and all that. So if you're able to be the very few getting in, then it's almost like selecting to some kind of Olympic
choice
program.
at that point.
Yeah, you better train for
Yeah.
it. So
Right.
so yeah.
Yeah, there's and I bet during that time frame, being so young and everything, I mean, that was kind of stressful, right?
Let's just say that the amount of work you have to put into it, the amount of practice you have to put into at age 8 or whatever, is certainly not what an 8-year-old would prefer to do. So yeah, but at the same time, just physically speaking, those were the important years to actually put the work in. So that's an uncomfortable truth in a way. You can't go with your own desire in that sense.
It built the foundation.
Right. I mean, it's like gymnastics. Playing instruments is very similar to that.
Yep.
You want to, sort of lock in certain muscle movement, flexibility of the tendon, and all that as early on as possible. And because then at some point they start to harden up. Then you want to do it. It's become less possible.
Right.
So,
yep.
yeah.
Muscle memory is very important.
Yeah.
Because that's, as we get older, we start losing that. But if you start at a younger age, you have it longer in life. I'm just
it's
assuming.
similar to learning a language, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a favorite place you've been?
You want to?
There's so many of them. The one in Croatia I played with us interesting backstage.
Yes, this
tell them
venue
the
that
story.
she played in Croatia, the backstage is actually part of the UNESCO World Heritage.
And the whole
Preserva-
complex is
whole complex.
UNESCO,
But
yeah.
the waiting room actually is sort of a burial place for like one of those old ancient Roman family. So there's actually a sarcophagus in the green room.
Oh wow!
And they certainly recommend you not sleeping. But it's actually there, so that's kind of unique.
That's unique.
That is unique.
Yeah.
And also last year we went to Saint Denis.
Oh, yeah. So after we finished our program in Paris last November, I think a gentleman came to us. He said, I'm teaching at this very prestigious school. I'm wondering if you can come and give presentations to our students. So apparently he's teaching at this school that's only open. It's a government program funded by Napoleon himself, and it's only open to the descendants of the female descendants of the winner of Legion of Honor Award. Which is basically the equivalent of Medal of Freedom in the United States, the highest civilian award in France. So they occasionally gave to a few foreigners, and those are kind of major either politicians or scientists or artists and all that. So it's a school that has about 500 students. It's basically through middle through high school, but it's situated in this old cloister attached to the Saint Denis Cathedral, which housed almost all of the French royalty. So you can find all the kings and queens' body in there, even including Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I guess they somehow found their body and heads.
Scattered all over the place.
But we're very fortunate because the place is really not open to public. There are actually very few even pictures online that you can find, but we were able to go in and we did our presentation, talking with students, also perform for them, and then this teacher gave us a guided tour of the grounds. So we really had several films were made in there, because once you walk through the door, you feel like you're transported back 500 years, because everything was kept in its original form. So the tables in the dining room were from Napoleon's time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And the dining room, they actually shot Hunger Game in it.
Oh, really?
They filmed one of the Hunger Games in there, and then there are also many other films using their location. So
That's really
So
cool.
it's it's part of the fun travel.
Yeah, I
experience.
guess.
So another place, even though we didn't perform at a place, but Mansfield.
Oh, well, we did perform in Mansfield, Ohio. But what made Mansfield famous? Do you know? Anybody? Bueller?
Golf.
No.
Bueller.
No, it's you see how old I am, right? No, but it's they have this their top tourist site is the Ohio Reformatory. It's a prison.
Oh,
But
okay.
because that's where they filmed the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
And also a small portion of Air Force One, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. I
So-
lived right down the street from Mansfield, Ohio.
really?
I lived in Plain City.
Oh, okay.
So, and I never knew that.
Oh, really?
I lived
Well,
there for
you
like
should.
2 years.
Next time
but
for sure.
Yeah, it was like,
And then we found out that the whole film was shot in this little town. So they give you little guideposts, so you can follow along and find
that's
all
cool.
all the film locations
Oh, wow.
within like half a mile radius.
Oh, wow.
So we got to see like 5 different places in 40 minutes. You know?
Cool.
Right before our warm up.
Actually, literally right before we have to go
warm-up
to the
to
venue
the
to start
concert.
warming up. We're like, well, we have enough time. it says like 30 seconds from where we are right now. So let's just go. And because of that, the director was so thankful to the city that he actually gave the world premiere of the film not in Hollywood, which is what they usually do, but he did it in one of the historical theaters in Mansfield.
Very cool.
So that's the first viewing of the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
did you have plenty of time, because that was the piano where most of the notes didn't work, so you didn't have to play all the notes?
No. We were only thankful that the city is so small that we're able to get to everything so quickly. Just get it done. Now play.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, when you get to do these things, you get to think about the outside of the box stuff that you get to do. I mean, the story itself with the concert is one thing, but it's all the other stuff, all the other stories.
Yeah, it certainly make it a lot more memorable.
Right. Any other places that you've been to before that you'd like to share about?
Well, I wanted to ask I know you're both big foodies. You constantly post about food, especially you. Where's your favorite place for food?
Locally?
No, well, anywhere. But thinking abroad.
Abroad, we love eating in Asia because that's where we come from. So
Right.
we're accustomed to the cooking, to the flavor. But
Interestingly, Amsterdam has a great
nice.
Asian food scene.
Is that right?
Yeah.
yes,
Very
Amsterdam is
authentic,
very nice.
like spectacular.
Wow.
Yeah.
But seafood towers you have to eat in Paris.
Seafood Tower? That sounds
Seafood
good to
Tower.
me.
Yes, it's really
Yeah,
nice.
I'm ready.
What else?
Yeah.
Oysters, Vancouver.
I knew how to get her going.
Yes.
Vancouver, right?
Yeah. Vancouver oysters
Yeah,
are
the
really
Vancouver Island, Victoria. Oh my
The
God.
oysters there?
Yes,
spectacular.
So nice.
So do you book your concerts around the places you want to eat?
She does.
almost feels that way, right? Yeah, I have nothing to do with it. You know, I just do the driving.
Yeah,
I'm the chauffeur.
I look for places where I want to eat or I want to visit. Then I will look for concerts in that area, and then we go.
That's cool. Well, you guys also just recently officially joined the Steinway family, right?
He has been a Steinway artist for a long time, but
Yeah, been-
just recently
Together.
Yes,
as a
yeah.
duo, we are now the Steinway ensemble.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And what does that mean exactly for you guys?
Means we are spectacular.
We knew that part already.
That's
Just
why
want
you're
to
here.
make sure.
But
I
Okay,
have
you
nothing to
answer.
add.
what does that do as far as opening up for a different kind of concerts and that kind of like what is that?
Different venues or
what
anything?
happens?
Well, I mean, I think it's just sort of it's a wonderful thing to join just because you know the Steinway roster literally includes all the important performing pianists in the world. So it's and there aren't that many piano duets actually on the roster. So we're very happy to be part of it, and we obviously always love using Steinway pianos. There's no question about that, and wherever possible. So it's wonderful to have that connection, and then we're also able to probably hopefully present more performances at different Steinway galleries throughout the country. So that's another wonderful connection to have. Yeah.
All right. Good. Good.
It probably is a really good feeling to, you know, because I was thinking the same thing, is there's not too many duo Steinway artists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, how many are there out there? I don't think I've ever heard of any.
As far as we know, there are just two, right? I think that's
More
more than two.
Yeah,
Okay.
but still, it's
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of
limited.
it myself until you guys announced it.
Oh.
So you're the first. You're the
Because
first
they're
for us.
spectacular.
like I said.
From the words.
So do you ever get the opportunity, like, because you're Steinway artists, and you know, and typically Steinway would bring in a concert piano, you know, for an event, that they bring in two for both of you instead of just doing one and four hands?
Well, I think they did that for us a couple years ago when we did the double Mozart piano concerto down here with the South Florida Symphony.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's nice to have really well prepared instruments for performances.
Yeah, it's extremely important, you know, especially when there's two of you. If it's one person playing the piano, it's one thing. But when you have two people, you know, you have to try to make the pianos as close as you can to each other.
That's
and
the
that's
hope.
Yeah.
impossible because they're two different instruments. You know, so, but you try. You do
Right.
what you can. And more so, it's going to come down to tuning more than anything else, in my opinion, because the voicing is still going to be different between the pianos. But it's the tuning, you know, and making sure that those are dialed in. I don't know if I mentioned it on a podcast one time, but I had a dual artist come in. It was they were two young brothers from Austria or Australia or somewhere, I don't remember. And the funny thing was so the way that we put the pianos together, you know, it curve to curve pretty much.
Right, the butterfly, whatever they call
Yeah.
it.
And so during intermission, I'm tuning the piano, and I hear this couple go, is that one big piano? And I'm like, no, it's two pianos just kind of put
Joined at the
together.
tail.
Yeah, and I'm like, but the funny thing was I heard it again. Is that one big piano? From somebody else. And I'm like, but when I'm backstage and I'm, on a standby, I'm like, man, they make it sound like one piano. They were just in tune with each other so
in
well.
sync.
Right. And but it was just funny when I'm on stage and people are looking like this. They're looking around, and I'm like, I'm trying to touch up two pianos in 10 minutes. And I'm like, what are you people doing? And they're just looking. Is that one big piano? But because they played so well, so. But
And sometimes people still sort of mistaken, like if it's a piano trio program, they're still sort of expecting to see three pianos on stage.
Yeah,
That still happens.
I wonder what they would think of the whammy piano.
So we were toying around. We were toying around with the idea because who was it that said that? Lane?
Yeah, I think so.
About making it would be great if one pedal was a wah-wah pedal in the piano. Where went wah wah wah, just like a guitar does, but with the strings. So we were talking about it. We actually kind of tested it out on one of our pianos, pushing down on the bridge and then pushing up from the bottom. And we were able to actually make it happen. But there's still a lot more that goes into that. We haven't done it since, and that was like a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not quite, but
But
yeah.
we've been tossing the idea around. So we're kind of wondering what y'all would think about something like that in your industry.
Would you find a place to be able to use that?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking that with something like that, it probably will come down to the repertoire, the composition, right? Whether it will be useful. It's almost like when Burschendorfer added that extra octave.
Right.
And I'm not sure which came first, actually, whether they had that first and then composers start writing extra notes that's beyond the original boundary, or somebody tried and it wasn't there, and then so they decide to add it. That part I wasn't sure. I mean, I do know there are a couple of piano brands. I know Fazioli, their biggest, largest concert grand, I think it's like a 12-foot thing that has 4 pedals. I'm not quite sure what the fourth one is for, but I know that.
Which you get to play because they have one over on the West Coast, right?
I'm not sure if it's a 12-foot thing. I know they have a 9-foot.
Okay.
It's the biggest one.
Does that have the 4 pedals?
I don't think so. I think it's just regular 3.
Is it?
Yeah, I think maybe it's only reserved for that. The 12-foot, which is sort of custom made. They don't mass produce any of those.
Yeah,
but
right.
the 12-foot one is even more rare. Yeah.
Well,
I was unaware that they were making a 12-foot piano.
I'm glad I'm not aware.
we need a bigger truck. But when Herbie Hancock's piano came in, that had 4 pedals, didn't it? And it was a 9-foot piano.
9 foot. It wasn't 4 though.
It wasn't 4 pedals? I
don't
thought it
believe
was.
so.
Thought it was. I don't remember.
I don't remember. It was so fast.
Yeah, we had to get it
uncrate
out of the shipping crate and into the touring crate, like boom, boom,
Yep.
boom, because
And
the
then
truck
it
got
was-
drivers ready to go. And so,
Yeah, I suppose as an instrument, piano hasn't changed too much, in the past 150 years or so. Yeah, so it's pretty well regulated.
that's why I like working on them, because it's the same way it's been all these years.
Yeah, to see what else is possible. Right?
Yeah. And they just have not been able to change it. They've changed, making it from wood to composite parts and
Right.
things like that. But as far as the design of it, it's been the same, so you can still get parts from a piano of 150 years ago, try saying that with your dishwasher, or, well, actually dishwashers weren't around back then, but you know what I mean. 150 years from now, it's impossible. And so who knows how long that's going to go on. Being in the Piano Technicians Guild, I go to the conventions, and I have seen some improvements with things with pianos over the last couple of years that are very interesting. And just seeing what people are coming up with, it's like, oh, that's a great idea. That's but you try to figure it out.
Do you remember a couple of like most striking ones?
One was
alarming
making
ones.
one was making a vertical piano play like a grand action.
on
One of them, and that was the way that they built the action, into the piano, and you could take a vertical action out it gets modernized and they do what they do. That was one. Some was just parts, like instead of doing leads for the keys, there was these other parts that were put in instead, which I bought them and still haven't used them yet. That's what happens. I buy something, we use it 10 years later. Like the pianos I buy, 10 years later we'll have it. And then some was electronical, like with the player systems and things like that. But I'm teaching 2 classes in Iowa at the convention next month. So I'll pay more attention to that too. So when we have you back on for another podcast, I have more to talk about. But no, it is interesting. It is an analog type of instrument, and that's what I like about it so much, because it is something that you, for the most part, unless it's some obscure piano, you're going to know what you're in for when you're working on it.
Right.
Handmade pianos are more difficult to work on than mass-produced pianos, because you kind of know what you're getting into. But there's something to be said about a handmade piano.
Oh, very much.
Which is Steinway. Charles Walter. Those are handmade pianos. And Fazioli is too.
Yes.
So and it comes down to all these inventions, that they're coming up with, and it's still the same design. They may have tweaked, okay, the stringing scale is going to change like this, or if we do this and we do that, but the premise is it's all original. It's still the same thing. That has not changed.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I like it, because it's, you just know what you're in for. A digital piano is completely different, because that's changing. Like all computers change. You got a phone for 2 years, it's 10 years old. It's just the same thing. So, but pianos, still the same. And the tools are still the same, so you don't have to keep upgrading and buying more tools.
Yeah, right.
Except
for you.
Well, it's just because I'm a tool freak, as you can tell. But we have a lot of what we call museum tools, like the ones that are up there, that technicians have used in the past. And I have a toolbox full of old tools. But they were built to last. I mean, those tools were built in the 1800s, and you can still use them to this day.
Right.
We don't, because some of them we do, but we don't, because I like to show people, look at this stuff. Look at the quality of this planer. Look what you could do. You can adjust, the curve of the planer, and it looks like it was just built yesterday. That stuff, the nostalgic part, like what you were saying, going into these old places, that is super cool. I'll tell you a funny story. So my wife and I and our kids, we were on vacation somewhere, and we like to go pass by a cemetery. Oh, there's a cemetery. Let's just walk through, just to see the dates. You get to see the dates. So
I enjoy doing that too.
So
I think we all do.
So our kids were like, I don't know, teenagers, right? And there was this real small one down this road that we saw. So we went down there, and it had 2 old rickety gates, iron gates. And so we opened it up, and we walked through, and the gate went, and my kids went, pew! And they went right into the car. They're like, nope. And I'm like, but that stuff is, the nostalgic part of it, like we were talking about with Beethoven, what they played back then. If they had a modern piano, what could they come up with? It's very fascinating with that part of it, because you'll never know.
Right. And that's why there's always this big debate, and it's going on for decades, probably a couple of centuries now, is that should you, or even can you play Bach's music on piano? Because the concept of modern piano didn't really exist during his time. So the purist says you absolutely cannot do that, because that's not what the sound he had in mind. So that's not expression he had in mind. And others will say, well, if you can express it better with modern instrument, why shouldn't you? And if Bach had this opportunity to work on the modern instrument, he might be more inspired by that than the harpsichord or clavichord that he had at the time. And there's a little bit of facts backing this up, is that at one point there was some type of new forte piano being invented in Germany at the time, and Bach for a short while, at least that's the information I have, is that he was a salesperson or at least some kind of a spokesperson for that brand. So he was very much open to the new possibility to the new instrument. So that would
lead you to believe that
right,
he would certainly be interested in
then, yeah.
what we got going on today.
Right.
Do y'all play harpsichord as well?
Oh, well, we pretend like we do. No,
do you have one? You guys don't have
no,
one.
we don't have one. No. And we also don't really tune them.
If you own one, you have to learn to tune.
Right.
Yeah, we're pretending to learn how to tune them right now.
I mean, it's a constant thing, right?
They're so fragile.
Right.
It's just so fragile. I feel like, so we've moved them numerous times this past season, and we kind of got a little intrigued with it, where we are going to learn how to tune them. But it just feels like if I breathed on it, I'm going to make it break. It's just that fragile. But that's similar to what they played on. It was a very fragile instrument back in the day. They couldn't be as bombastic as you can on a modern piano.
Right. Certainly.
You would break it.
It'd probably fall apart.
The pedals will come off.
Well, we never figured out what those stops were, like where the cheek blocks are. Like,
it just changes different color, different sound it produces.
Couples the
Oh yes.
different menus.
Well, if you have a double menu, then there's one thing you move, then it will make you play both menus simultaneously.
Oh, right.
But then
Okay.
but there are other stops that will give you a totally different sound.
tone.
Yeah,
But
it's a
it
different
had like
sound
several
protection.
cheek blocks on this side.
Right.
That you
Yeah.
can convert over to here or take out.
we didn't get a chance to really dissect
Yeah.
it.
We were
Right.
afraid. We're like, we got to make sure we put this thing back together for the
It
concert.
kind of got you thinking about buying one just so we can
Right.
get into it and figure
Well,
it out.
I don't think moving these things will ever break them. So you can fool
Now we know.
around with it.
Next time
fool
it
around
comes
with
in, we're going to take this thing apart.
Heads up, FAU.
Oh,
Kyle.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's such a dainty, fragile, instrument. It's I mean, to pick it up is nothing. I mean, it's so light. God, you guys would be spoiled if pianos were that light.
Those are the ones you hold over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Right?
To be a full-time harpsichord mover.
You get one job a year.
That's my retirement plan. But I wonder, so you're saying it changes the tone or the color of it. Like, how? Like, what is it mechanically doing inside?
That's a good question.
That's what we were interested in trying to figure out what the heck it's actually doing.
Yeah, because usually, the regular mechanism is just plucking it, right?
Right.
You have a plug,
Right.
and then there are just different sounds of the plucking that it can produce by changing the stops. But I'm not exactly sure what mechanism within it changes to produce a different sound.
Next time we
I'm
should
not-
take it apart together.
Yeah, when you
figure
decide to take
When
it
we
apart,
get one here,
have us over
Next
here.
time we're
Yeah.
going in, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
We'll do it on the podcast. So we
can do that.
We could record it to figure out how to put it back together.
we'll cook some cheeseburgers. And
That would drive the harpsichord people crazy.
I don't know.
Like,
She's
what
a
are they
food critic.
doing?
You might-
we're going to have him cook.
Yeah, this way, next time we have a podcast, one of the best burgers I had was at Hamilton Piano Company.
I think we need to get oysters.
Right?
Get them too. So, any place recent, or is it because this is like seasons, died down, so you're not playing anywhere locally now, or are you?
Actually, locally, she has a couple of things
tomorrow.
coming up right away.
Tomorrow in Miami and Friday in Oakland Park, Fort
Okay.
Lauderdale. Yeah, we're doing chamber music. It's the South Florida Symphony Summer Chamber Series.
Okay.
Yes, and Tao, actually, after today's broadcast, he's driving over to Sarasota because he has a concert there tomorrow morning.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah, a few things on the West Coast,
Yeah.
and then I'm about to take off for my summer music festival duties.
so is it?
so-
It's all year round for you guys?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess when you're worldwide, it's not seasonal, right?
Right.
Because there's a season going on everywhere at every given time.
I mean, summer
Yeah.
music scene is a little bit different, but we're still sort of more or less keeping busy.
yeah, good.
That's good.
Well, it's we get this a lot. when people come in, they see the passion that we have in our shop, and we see it in you guys with what you're doing, you know, so it's commendable, because playing the piano is not easy. It's not easy. Playing the music you guys play is even harder. You know, I mean, anybody can play the Beatles, you know, on the piano. They can't play, well, not that guy, but Rachmaninoff and Beethoven, Chopin, and Bach, you know, so on and so forth. So it's commendable because without you guys doing what you do, that stuff gets lost. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, and to see the passion in that you like to do it, you know, is fantastic too, because some people, this is my job, you know, you guys don't feel that way. You know, it's like we don't feel that way with ours. It's like, this is not a job. This is our life. This is what we love to do. And if more people felt that way about what they were doing, they probably would have a better life. You know,
well, music in particular is performing. Music performance is a very unique field because it's a momentary art. It doesn't really stay, regardless how advanced the recording industry evolves. A performance is just that. It takes place and then it finishes and then it disappears forever. So the next time you do it again, it's a whole new experience, both for the listener and for the performer. Because even if you record something and you play it back, it's not the same as how it should be heard in a way.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's a sort of funny saying like, well, I don't really want to hear Beethoven Symphony playing in my bathroom. Right? I mean, it needs to be in a hall. It has a certain occasion to it. So I think that's one thing that keeping it really fresh. You know, because every time it's being recreated on the spot, and then it's gone again.
Yeah, because the way you play it one time may not be the same way you play it another time. Different piano, different venue.
Right, preferably it shouldn't be the same.
Right.
Because you feel differently. You know, like you said, instruments different, acoustically it's different. So yeah, so there's...
I was doing a class at the Steinway Gallery in Tampa, or Clearwater, and there was, I think the night before or the week before, there was an artist that did at the recital hall, did a concert. And so they used the Stereo record and recorded it. So he got to hear it when I was there because the class had ended and he came in. He got to hear his concert being played back, you know, from it. So that's pretty cool. Have you guys ever done that before?
Yes, we performed in that venue as well.
Yeah, actually we also performed at that venue and they did also record that.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I value recordings. I do think that they are useful, you know, historical documents, or it's just at least a memento of a certain performance. But at the same time, you know, nothing can really replace live performances because that's what this art form is meant to have.
Right.
Is that moment of creation, recreation, and then it should just disappear.
Unless, you know, because you got to think about it. The keys were meant for the fingers to press down. And what's happening with any player system, the keys are meant to be pressed from the bottom, you know, with the player. You can't mimic that. You can't mimic that it goes from the top, you know, from the bottom, unless someone ended up building the player system first around that. I know Yamaha disc clavier systems are very good systems, but you can't do that. You know, it has to be played from the top, not from the bottom with the player system. You see what I mean?
So even when you see the keys do go down, it's still
being
really
pressed from
pulled
the back.
I see. Oh, it's pressed from the
Yeah,
back.
so the physics are
different.
different.
Correct.
Yeah. And I wonder what gets lost there. Like what
Well, my feeling is that even if it doesn't get lost at all, let's say it's literally 100% duplication of what is recorded, but still another performance should be something different, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You know, even 5 minutes later, I'm different from what I was 5 minutes ago. So when I listen to the same thing, my reaction would be different.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yep.
So because I can't possibly feel exactly the same as 5 minutes ago.
So that's it. Tomorrow, will you still love me? Because that will be different.
Ask him in 5 minutes.
Just like tomorrow, I will still get hungry. Yes.
So will she. She'll tell you where to go.
Yes.
So do you still cry when you're hungry?
Some things don't change. Some things might get worse.
So the next time he's crying, you know he's hungry.
Yeah, don't ask me to practice. Just give me food. Yes.
Oysters, please, oysters.
So do you have a busy season coming up when when your season technically kicks in?
Yes.
Yeah, I think next
Pretty
season is
wild.
going to be pretty ridiculous. We just there's so much traveling. I don't even want to think
You
about
guys are
it
nonstop all the time.
because see the thing that I'm not a big fan of taking flights just because the possible delays, cancellation and all that, and then you have the stress of having to get where you need to go.
And then you still have to rent a car.
Yeah.
Right. But there are just so many places we have to be next season. So yeah, I choose not to think about that right now. But it will.
Next topic.
It will get. It will. Yeah. Right in my face.
We are going to Dubai.
But that's not next
Oh, yeah.
season. It's the following season.
Oh, it's 2026.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Have you been to Dubai before?
I have.
Yeah.
And this time I'm taking him there, but we'll perform a concert there.
Oh.
Yeah. At the Steinway Gallery there, I believe, right?
Oh, is that right?
I
Yeah.
think it's not called Steinway Gallery, but it's the
Steinway. It's a
Steinway
official
place.
Steinway
Yeah.
dealership
Right,
sure.
there.
She knows exactly where you're gonna eat.
I will have the whole itinerary.
Chew on the
planned
sand.
You're out there. I'm in here.
Go practice. I'm getting something to eat.
I'll be way up there.
Indeed.
Yeah, Dubai's a pretty crazy place. As far as like beauty and all the technology and the stuff that they got going on. It's pretty crazy. Never been there. Probably never will, unless I hide in your luggage.
You need a tuner, don't you?
Yeah. Don't you need somebody to be on staff? But yeah, that's cool about all the
We can bring
cool
a piano.
places. Yeah, we can bring one over there. No problem. May
Just
take
make
a,
demands.
yeah.
I mean, tell Steinway this is the way it has to be done.
There's only 3 people you
It's only
trust.
signed in your contract.
Well, it was funny because we had Copeland Davis. Copeland Davis, he's a jazz pianist.
Okay.
So he's been on the podcast. He's a very good friend of ours, and he's been all over the place too. And he's played. And so one of his stipulations was when he was down here and he was touring is that my father was the only person that tuned the piano. And it was in his contract. I think he said that on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted. He says Reggie Hamilton has to be, be the tuner.
Yep.
And so he did. So every time he went somewhere, they had to call my dad to tune, and some artists do that. I mean, they have their own, usually it's the artists that carry their own piano. They have their own technician.
Right. Well, Horowitz did.
Yes.
He
Yep.
took his tuner technician with him.
Yep, Franz Moore.
Franz Moore,
Yep.
exactly.
I took one of Franz's class many years ago, probably 22 years ago or so. It was kind of funny because when I'm in the class, I'm like probably second to last row. And so he's talking about action regulation and this and that. And so I asked him a question and he didn't answer it. He kind of just, he I held my hand up and he said, oh, well, this and this and this. I don't remember exactly this and this and this. And I'm sitting there going, that didn't answer my question. And so I looked at the technician next to me. I said, my question will get answered when he starts putting it back together because that's what I, needed to know.
Yeah.
So, should we check to make sure that didn't just shut things off?
Oh, still recording there.
Let's check the cameras real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're pretty much done, but we just had that power.
Takes-
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that's
was that
weird.
was that a
Yeah.
power outage? Really?
Yeah.
The weather.
Semi.
That didn't
Yeah,
really.
it was a shortage. Or something,
Wow,
you know.
that was.
Well, those aren't plugged in. So.
Oh, these are.
Didn't affect the batteries.
That's a good one.
Asshole.
Yeah, make sure that's recorded. Yes.
Hamilton after hours. The shocking experience. The time Toby freaking got up to
just
check
joined us.
to check to see if the power was still on the batteries.
Beethoven and Chopin just joined the
Yeah. All right. That was a sign that we need to go deliver the piano for you
that's
guys. So, any other stories you guys have that you want to share?
Well,
Because what we could do too is have you back on. You know, after next season, we can do another podcast if you like to, and
Sure.
Yeah,
give
we'll
us
be
more
happy
stories
to.
about pedals falling off
Right.
pianos.
Also, too, and we've discussed this a little bit with other people. As we're starting to gain more viewers, little by little. I think we're up to 3 now. But
No, it's 5.
4 or 5.
It's 5 now.
if you've got something you want to promote, locally, if we can get a podcast in and have it air, it takes a couple weeks for us to air it. To kind of plan for that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then we can have it air shortly before when you're trying to sell tickets and this and that. So keep that in mind.
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we do have things locally next season. Quite a few. Yeah. So yeah,
Where
that
are
would
y'all
be
going to be
great.
locally next season?
So I will be a feature soloist with the Atlantic Classical Orchestra in January.
Stuart.
So we perform in Stuart and Vero Beach, and then later next season I will be performing this guy's 4th concerto with South Florida Symphony. That will be in Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so that's coming up. That will be next.
Y'all ever
April, I
do
think.
Sunrise Theater?
No, in Fort Lauderdale they do Parker. Parker
Okay.
Playhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
But
talking
not
about the
Fort
one.
Pierce.
Yeah,
the
Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce.
Oh yes.
Sunrise Theater.
I don't know if I've done that. I've done the Barbara Mann Theater. That's in Fort. Oh, that's Fort Pierce. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about Fort Myers. That's
No, Fort Pierce.
yeah. They do the Indian River Community Church. I think up
Okay.
in Vero. Yeah, and then the Lyric Theater in Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a website that people can follow you guys?
Yes, it's Duo Beaux Arts.com, and we also have our personal website. Mine is CatherineLan.com, and his is Tao Lin pianist.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This way people can, our 5 viewers can, follow.
Link to your 5 viewers.
Yeah.
Which will
Then we
link to
got
their
10
5 viewers.
overnight.
All right.
Thank you guys very much for being on.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
thank you for having us.
Yeah. Hope you had fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And make sure you follow them. And if you want any more information, just go on their website. They can contact you. I take it so that you can, or
Sure,
you'll
they-
have your
they
your
can.
dates on
Yes.
your website
Yes.
of where you're going to be,
Yes,
so
yes.
they can go and hopefully buy some tickets and support them. And we really appreciate everything with you guys being on. It was a
Love being
lot
here.
of fun.
Thank
This
you.
is great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and a special thank you, Catherine. Whenever Rhapsody in Blue is one of my favorite pieces of music of all time, and my go-to is your version that's on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
So if anybody loves Rhapsody in Blue, go to YouTube, Catherine Lan, Rhapsody in Blue, with the Broward
Yes. Yeah, Broward, I think. also
Symphonic Band.
Symphonic Band,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
Yep,
the
yep,
name.
Yeah. So fantastic
Thank you
video,
very much.
fantastic version,
Awesome.
and
Thank
I
you.
listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
absolutely.
what we need to do. We need to keep promoting and letting people know, what's going on out there. You see it on commercials. What's happening in West Palm Beach? It's
Right.
like, so this is our small way of contributing to
To
the
that,
arts
yeah.
and things
Trying
like
to
that. too.
connect everybody in
Yep.
our
Yep.
end of the business.
So, and anybody wants to follow us, we are at HamiltonPianoCo.com and or give us a call or come visit us in West Palm Beach. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you all.